My doorman was chatting up a very attractive young lady in the lobby of my building this week. He said he had never taken a pet to the vet before. It was very expensive. It cost $700 just to find out what was wrong with his pet, and another $300 to put it to sleep. He said he never could have afforded to keep it alive. He said, I don't have that kind of money. It was a very humbling experience. None of us like to be a loser or to be humbled, but it happens all the time if you're paying attention. I watched a lady this week make a run for it in the crosswalk just as the light was changing. She darted in and out of oncoming traffic. As she stepped onto the curb next to me, she said, I like to live dangerously. I told her I like it, and you pulled it off pretty good. This week, Latasha from church waved a hello to me as I passed through the John Hancock Plaza. I waved back until I realized who it was. We often want to stop and say hello, but our smarter selves sometimes say, keep on walking. None of us want to be humbled, and some of us do like to live dangerously. And if your natural inclination is to keep on walking, maybe you should run. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about being treated for old age, how birthdays seem to go in cycles, having a positive mantra, how bananas are good for cholesterol, shopping at Dillard's, and the Belleville Art Show. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Isaiah. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet. And from Galatians, without faith, we're slaves to the whims of the world. The gospel reading was from Luke. This is the year of the Lord's favor. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was from Bishop Vashti Murphy McKenzie, who is currently serving as president of the National Council of Churches. Bishop Vashti greeted everyone by name at the cathedral. In the name of the Lord. In honor of Juneteenth, Vashti cited every mass shooting and genocide perpetrated against Black people that has ever happened in this country. She asked if any of us had ever heard of it. Just because we didn't hear about it doesn't mean it didn't happen. We all know some history, but whose history is it? Often it's written by those to serve themselves. Vashti said, currently, Russia is rewriting the history of the Soviet Union era, and China is rewriting its history to better serve the purpose of the Chinese Communist Party. Here in this country, people are trying to rewrite the history of January 6th in real time. One of the best ways to destroy a country is to forget our own history, even while it's happening. There's nothing in our history that can destroy us. We must remember the history and current reality of dehumanization, forced labor, castration, lynching, and subjugation of others for the benefit of a few. It's not hard to do. All we have to do is breathe. Breathe into the history of the past and the history we're living today. Vashti asked the congregation, are you breathing? Are you breathing into the history that keeps you pacified, depressed, and isolated? Isolated in your own bubble, where you can abuse people and go home at night feeling pretty good about yourself. If that's working for you, then just keep on doing that. But if you have that nagging feeling or suspicion that something's amiss, then try something else. Breathe into the reality that we're not writing our own history. God is. We have to have trust to do that. When everyone else is saying no and our knees are buckling, we can say yes. History doesn't ask ask what happened, it asks, how did we get here? Vashti said, history and memory go hand in hand. Memory is a shared emotional response. In the Civil War, the North won the war, but the South won the memory. We celebrate holidays because of memory. She said it's past time to speak our prophetic voice, speaking out for equal rights, free speech, freedom of assembly, and redress of grievances. It's not hard to breathe into that, but we're afraid to ask, afraid to trust, afraid to live our own shared emotional experience because we might need to reveal who we are and face rejection from the world that we're enslaved to. God says no to that. Are you breathing yet? Trust, have faith, and breathe into it. We can win the war and win the memory, but only if you take the first breath. At St. James Cathedral, Lisa preached about getting a 1970s suntan as a teen and about her attempts at amateur gardening, buying flower seeds at the hardware store and doing her best to make them grow. Some plants struggle, and some plants, like daylilies, are invasive and seem to take over. The daylilies offer what they have to offer in the garden, and it's best not to challenge them. Lisa said before St. James, she served a large urban congregation in Cleveland, Ohio. It was a large congregation, yet attendance and membership was slipping. Nothing they could do could reverse the trend. Later, when she came to St. James, she found a congregation experiencing growth. Growth comes from God. All we can do is provide support and structure. We need to provide support and structure to support the weight of the increase. We have our rejoicing in the increase and also the rejoicing in our strain. The point is not to avoid the strain and wait for the increase, but welcome the strain and rejoice in the increase. God provides the growth and we do our part. Well done, faithful servant. This week, I was disappointed when a community organizing project fell apart with a downtown business association. They told me they had bigger fish to fry, waiting for a large government money program to come through before they could support a free arts initiative supported by the artists themselves. There are plenty of things more important than an arts initiative. It's always a good ploy to do nothing and create a diversion from larger issues. In the sermon by Bishop Vashti Murphy McKenzie at Washington National Cathedral, she said that the economic value of slave labor at the time of the Civil War was equal to $3 billion. She said that would be equal to $90 trillion in today's dollars. I believe the total gross domestic product in the US is currently around $96 trillion. So that's a pretty big number. Harvard Business School teaches us to maximize profits. If it's not a revenue generator, then get rid of it. We're all waiting for the big government payout program, the big money to fix everything. In the meantime, who's providing the structure and support? It's probably the people who've been the willing servants. Yes, they did get room and board and a Amazon Prime account, but most likely they'll be discarded when they're no longer of use to someone else. If you're white, you probably never noticed it. That's our white privilege. It's not that we have privileges, it's just that we live in a bubble. But Black people, they notice it. We all experience it. It's the shared memory of feelings. We all want the increase, but no one wants to provide the support or structure needed to support the weight of the increase. Morality is just a window dressing we use to dress up the lack of faith we have in God in favor of the big payout from the world. We're all waiting and hoping. In the meantime, we're all just scraping by. It's very humbling. Some of us notice, and others just keep on walking. Maybe we should start running. We can't make things grow or change. Only God can. He's waiting for us to get out of the way so he can do so. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. Be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.